Transparency, bro. Like, God bless
Full
him.
transparency.
From the Mind Insurance Guy Studios.
He's bringing the LO in him.
Coming at you
Disclosure.
live from the
Love
My
disclosure.
Insurance Guy Media Studio.
So the My Insurance Guy thing, we
It's
did a
been like
podcast.
years.
We did a podcast last year, and he would do the intro every time. Once a week we would do this, and he literally never got our name right. I'm like, you
It's
got
My Insurance Group
It's a
Media
group.
Studio.
Like we've been a group for like 5 years. Like we were at one time in 2019. We were a guy for.
I like My Insurance Guy better. I mean, I'm from Chicago. It's you guys.
Yeah.
My Insurance Guy.
You guys.
I got a guy.
Yeah, but
my God.
but when you have 14 women that work in your office, it's.
But
know.
I mean, it's just everybody's a guy.
Yeah.
Oh my guy. So Chicagoans use guys like y'all.
Right.
So it's my guy. Call my guy.
We're in Texas.
It's been 15 years I've been in Texas, but
15 years.
15 years I've been in Texas, but
It's funny because we got a New Yorkan and a Chicagoan
Chicagoan.
with us tonight.
oh, we should have a pizza duel.
New
Well,
York.
actually, there would be no competition.
Yeah, I agree.
New
No
York-
contest
New York
whatsoever.
wins.
Yeah.
New
What?
York wins.
No, you're dead
What
to
are you
me.
talking like, dude? The man, I can eat like one slice of a Chicago style.
Yeah,
pizza,
you put some meat on your
and I'm
bones
just
right
like,
there. Bam.
I'm out. Like I don't know. I like the thin.
The thin.
I don't know. I just like the thin.
That's like if you can't afford thick crust, you get the thin crust.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't do. I don't. I'm not a big thick crust guy either. I mean, I don't like them. I mean, I just like normal pizza.
Yeah.
And I like thin crust pizza, but like when that on poker night, one of those pizzas is like,
Yeah.
Like,
they get in there.
yeah, I'm like, oh, I can't eat
That'll
all that.
fuel it for the whole tournament right there, that
Yeah.
one piece.
That is a gnarly thick pizza.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we have a special guest today who's busy working, which is good.
I'm here.
So we have a very loose format here, but we're going to find out a little about you, what makes you tick, what brings you success, and generally why you got into the crazy world of real estate.
Well, you're going to be in for a ride because it's quite the interesting story.
We're ready.
I'm ready.
We're going to strap in.
Hey, real quick, does your wife make pizza crust with her sourdough discard?
She has not.
Dude, my wife does. And my girls love it. They'll because clearly your wife. Get back here.
She bakes. Oh, I got a box of cookies for you too, by the way. So, anyways, Gina Litwin, your bagels rock as usual. All your foods rocked. I'm getting fat.
She takes the discard and kind of like pours out on a cast iron skillet and kind of puts it in the oven for a hot minute, and then until it gets a little thin or crispy, and then she'll throw some of that Raoul's marinara and some cheese. Oh, my girl! I got a 5-year-old and 8-year-old. Dude, my girls love it. So it's so good.
Beautiful.
All right, Trey.
All right, me.
It's all yours.
Okay, so
Bring it on.
just
So
roll
talk
it.
about whatever
Okay.
you want, then we'll ask
Born
some
in the
questions.
Bronx.
All right, yeah. So here is a very Cliff Note version of my story, and I promise the ending will grab you in your panties. So
Can't wait.
okay. So I was actually born in South America in Chile. I'm the off the boat story. True American, migrated here. Parents did very blue collar jobs. Grew up in the Bronx, and then from the Bronx, moved around different areas in New York. And then in 2011, I actually applied to the police academy. I applied to Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio. And the reasons I applied is just because I wanted to get. Can I say fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. I already said it. Can I say it?
Too late now.
That was a joke. So I wanted to get the fuck out of New York, and just because I was 18 years
you're
old,
from New York.
making $80,000 as an 18-year-old, as a EMT in an ambulance and a paramedic in an ambulance, and I was not even able to afford a house, which is insane. So I applied for these departments. Honestly, I came to San Antonio for the police test. I saw the Riverwalk, and I just drove around downtown, which now I know is literally through some Section 8 areas, some close to downtown houses that at the time were like $80,000, $60,000, and I was like, this is insane! Like, oh my God, you could buy the house with a yard, next to a grocery store, and like live like a king. This is amazing. I'm gonna live here. And that was it. Like, it was very little information on what it's like living in San Antonio. So I just moved. And, obviously, I got accepted to Police Academy on Friday and started the Police Academy that Monday. Literally, I drove my Jeep from New York City all the way to San Antonio, Texas. I got to my apartment. I met my roommate that day, and we started the police academy that Monday. So, and I literally quit a pension job, in New York City. So when you say that I literally just like took a chance, Mark Twain had a great quote. It says, to get the fruit, you got to go on a limb. So started the police academy Monday, and you're an at-will employee, which means that like if you have a bad injury or something, you're fired. Like there's no like recoverment plan. Like I would have to move back and cry back to my parents, but I didn't. Luckily, we survived. I graduated. I was a San Antonio police officer for 9 years. And so I say that interesting story because in the 9 years I was a cop. I was actually I'm on a Netflix special. Do you guys know that?
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
No.
So when people, like I get DMs or I get Facebook messages like, oh my God, I saw you on Netflix. And the show is I Am a Killer. True story. Like you can watch it. I'm on a show, I'm a Killer. The episode is A Mother's Choice. So yeah, I'm not going to spoil it. I would watch it.
I've seen them. That's one of my favorite.
It's like a documentary, or is it?
Yeah, it's documented about murders.
So people like they interview these criminal. I guess
Nut
we'll
jobs.
call them criminals. They interview these people in
Alleged
jail,
criminals.
and they kind of talk. They talk and go through their version of the story, and then they'll go to like the detective side. They'll talk to his family. I know Nico had a brother that was on there.
Yeah. So I was on Netflix special. I was on an HBO special. I was on NBC special. I just did a lot of crazy shit in the police department,
Wow.
which is fun. Like I joined the police academy and they said, hey, where do you want to work? I was like, what's the most dangerous side of San Antonio? That's where I want to go. And I love that because honestly, I grew up kind of low income, so I can relate to the families that live there. So that's where I wanted to work. Anyway, so while I was a cop, this is now transitioning to why I became a realtor. So while I was a cop, my wife had bought a house before we met with some lady, and she was really nice. Like she did a great job. My wife was happy with her. But then when I was looking to buy a home with my at the time girlfriend, but not my wife, I just asked my buddies at work who are cops. I'm like, hey man, I don't want my personal information out to people that are non-cops. So does anybody know a realtor? And my buddy, I'm not gonna say his name, but his wife is like, oh, my wife's a realtor, so like we can help you out. And I'm like, oh dude, great. Like I'm not even gonna like interview, like dude, sold. So when we went to sell our condo in the medical center, it was this little tiny $90,000 3-bedroom, 1-bath kind of thing. Actually, was it? Yeah, 3-bedroom, 1-bath. So we hired. Her name is Karen. So if you work with a realtor named Karen, please be careful. I have to say her name.
She's such a Karen.
Yeah, like it's funny because like, oh, Karen of real estate. I'm like,
it's
no,
not like you threw
her name is actually Karen.
or her.
I'm pretty sure she's still active, but please watch out. So Karen did a terrible job. But honestly, so like I was so stressed during the selling process. And I know like any seller will have stresses, but the damn lady would not explain. I'm like, what am I signing when an offer came? Or what am I looking at? She's like, oh, it's just, this is the price. This is what your net. And I'm like, yeah, but you're sending me this form to sign. Like, what is paragraph C? What is paragraph 4? What does all this mean? Her answer, and I still quote, oh, it's legal mumbo jumbo. I wanted to fucking slap her in the toe. I was so
Not
pissed.
the toe.
I was so pissed. So I was just like, how is this difficult? I'm signing arrest forms. I'm taking people's liberty. I'm, legally taking their liberty to put them in jail. And I'm doing all this, and I'm explaining these forms and arrest sheets and, like, constitutional rights. And, like, lady, you can't explain a fucking document? Like, what is wrong with you? So... like she would not respond with me. Anyway, so I remember parking my car. We were going to like dinner, this is before kids, in New Braunfels. And I'm just like, I'm so fucking stressed. Like, how is this a thing when selling a damn house? Like you're pushing papers. Like it's not that difficult. And she told me what she was going to make off the sale. Like, does anybody out there relate to me? So I was like, you know what? After I saw if she got paid, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this myself. And if anything, I'll just help a couple buddies and help them get some real estate, maybe give them some discounts or do whatever. Like, I had no idea what the process entailed besides my experience. So I got my real estate license, and I sold 1 house, I sold 2 houses, I sold 5 houses, I sold 10 houses as a part-time agent. And so I realized, like, whoa, I'm been in this a year. I've sold 15 houses, and I've made more than I have working overtime. So I'm like, this is incredible. Like, wow, this is a lot. And I actually gave a shit. So when I would walk through houses, I would do the opposite of what Karen did. I would be like, hey, this house sucks. Like, the foundation sucks, the roof sucks. Like, you're going to spend a lot of money. Let's just leave. And people were like, what? Like, you're supposed to sell me this. Like, I love the layout. I'm like, no. Who cares about the layout? There's more layouts. Let's go. So I would do the opposite. And people were like, man, you're not a salesman. And that actually worked to my benefit. So I'm going to fast forward to a quick story. So the San Antonio Express News actually published an article about how I said that San Antonio was the worst city in the United States. Because I have a YouTube channel with over 60,000 subscribers. Those of you listening, please, if you're looking to know what's going on in San Antonio, subscribe. It's called San Antonio Suburbs with Tre Serrano. If you just want to, like, steal my shit, please don't. Or if you can, I don't care, whatever. But this guy, Tim, from San Antonio Express News, like, put this article out. So I was like, fuck you. I'm going to go YouTube Live. I'm going to talk about how you're shitty and how I didn't say that. And I did. So I ended up getting more business. Anyway, back to the story of where I was becoming my real estate license and being a part-time cop, part-time real estate. So I then, after I hit a milestone where I sold 50 houses in 1 year as a part-time agent. And I outsold my brokerage. I had a brick and mortar mom and pop type brokerage. I'm not going to say their name because the broker was shitty to me. He was like, oh, fuck you and your millennial video stuff. Like, that's so dumb. And I'm like, all right, well.
Yeah,
what?
super stupid.
Said Netflix.
Said
Yeah.
Blockbuster Video.
You know what? Hold my beer, watch this. So yeah, I outsold the brokerage, and I was like, this is weird. Like, I'm in a training in a room full of 50 to 60 agents. I'm a part-timer selling more, getting the top producer award in the brokerage. Like, this is weird. I'm like, I probably shouldn't be here. One of my other mentors in the police department said, dude, never be the smartest person in the room. So I'm like, I know I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'm doing more than most people in the room. So I'm like, I got to get out of here. So then I was going through the brokerages, and I found one that I didn't love, but it was better than where I was at. So I joined. And then I kept selling real estate, but then what I realized, I had to hire an assistant, and I was totally winging this. Like, those of you out there that wing real estate, like, it's probably most of us, right, in the beginning. So I was totally winging it. I was like, man, I'm so busy that I need an assistant. So, like, my wife thought I was crazy. I was like, I'm just going to hire somebody, and I'm like, just help me. Just figure it out. So she helped. And then I hired her to get her license. And then it got to a point where we were doing our taxes. And I realized I was paying my assistant more than I was making as a cop. And that was the trigger that I was like, oh, fuck. So here's this lady making $80,000 a year, and I'm paying her this. And I'm like, all right, I think I need to make a decision here. So this is fast forward 2020. Of course, the best time to make a decision that affects your life. So then 2020 hit, COVID, riots, I was still a cop at the time. Honestly, the riots never scared me. COVID never scared me. I was just like, I'm paying my assistant more than I'm making as a cop. Like, this is weird. So that's when I said, I quit. I just left the pension, left the benefits, left the healthcare, left all the money I had vested, and just went full-time real estate. Luckily, 2020, 2021 were incredible years for real estate. So I was able to do well, recover, invest, and basically from 2021, I switched brokerages, and honestly, from 2021 to now, same brokerage.
You can say its name. It's okay.
Oh, Real.
Yeah.
Real. So I'm at Real. Okay, so the other part of that, and I'll finish my story. I want you guys to have some airtime. Is I made every mistake that you can possibly make, both as a realtor and as a team lead. So I fucked up being a realtor in the beginning. Like, I pretended I knew shit, and I didn't. And then I also, as a team lead, I was like, oh, I have business. You want business? Join my team. And I fucked that up. So now we're a lean and mean machine. We close about 100 transactions a year with just 3 agents and 5 support staff. We have an office here in Stone Oak, and we're just loving life.
Bam. There's the. So my first question: you moved here from New York.
Yep.
You were an EMT.
Yep.
Why did you not become
Paramedic.
a firefighter?
2 different
paramedic.
sorts.
Sorry, paramedic.
Yeah.
Why did you not just join the fire department?
So I always wanted to be a cop, and only because I grew up such low income that like I saw cops treat people shitty. And I remember my mom telling me a story. She got pulled over, and this cop was like something like learn fucking English or something. And you know, my mom's an immigrant, and I'm like, fuck that motherfucker. Like, I was so pissed. But instead of what every other dumbass does is like just be destructive and like cry about it, I'm like, I'm gonna do something about it. So I'm gonna be a cop, and I'm gonna be the opposite. I'm not gonna treat people that way. And then, of course, I love fighting bad guys, like literally fighting bad guys. Yeah, it was fun. Great time.
A lot of your journeys sound like you got into something because there was to fix something because of a bad experience. Like, you got into cop because your mom had a bad experience. You got into real estate because you had a bad experience. Like, well, I'm just going to go attack this. I feel like I can do very well.
Dude, you nailed me. Yeah, I mean, I love empowering people. Like, I feel like, and I've taken personality tests and all the like real estate coaching seminars I've been to, and what I learned about myself is, number one, my brain works in bullet points, and number two, I love the feeling of people empowered. So like John, for example, like, you know, John loves empowering and giving back to people. So like, I love sending him business, and honestly, my clients feel empowered because it is the best interest. This is not a plug, dude. Like, you didn't tell me to say this.
I didn't, but I mean, I'm sponsoring your next happy hour, so
just for me saying that. And I don't really ask John for money, but I'm saying is,
No.
I love empowering people, and I love when people find home ownership, and then they call me years later. I'm like, hey, Trey, I'm ready to sell my house you sold me 3 years ago, and they got 30, 40 grand of equity just sitting there, and they're like, oh my God, like, I have all this money sitting in equity, and I wouldn't have had that if I hadn't just told them, like, no, that house sucks, this house sucks, but this house is great.
Yeah.
no.
Well, we gotta figure out what your next I wouldn't say like experiment or career is going. Like, you get a bad roofer, or you go to bat.
You start a roofing company on the
Start
side.
a roofing company on the side. You know, it's like, oh man, those insurance guys, man, they're terrible now. I'm gonna start an insurance agency.
Well, we did mess up Trey's insurance about 4 years ago, and I made it right, but it was just like, God, like, I was like, no.
Of all the people.
All the people to like have like a glitch in the system. It's like it had to be on him.
No, yeah, that was, to share that story, there was something, and I was like, hey, John, this is kind of messed up, and he's like, I don't know what you mean, and I'm like, no, I think it's messed up, and then he literally drove to my office, wrote me a check, and said, I'm sorry, like, here's the difference that our company made a mistake, and then from there on, I'm like, hey, everybody makes mistakes, but you just got to own it.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, dude, we don't do this very often.
You weren't our first check, and you probably won't our last.
Yeah.
We got
We had
staff.
to do it the other day. Like, literally, it was a bigger check too, because it was on a commercial deal, and it was
Well, and you kind of nailed it, man. You just kind of, I mean, we have 25 humans, right?
Yep.
All humans, humans aren't perfect, so we over or don't read things sometimes, or whatever it may be. I don't know what happened, but yeah, we weren't our first, weren't our last, but we generally tend to own it up to them. And
well, I'll tell you what happened. It was an agent, great person. He's actually no longer with us, but he's great. That didn't follow our system, and that's what happens. Like,
the system's there for a reason.
So Eric is, and I'll give a plug on Eric. Eric has done a phenomenal job building out systems and processes, and we have more systems and processes than any other insurance agency that's our size, just because we don't want things to fall through the cracks or to have those like scenarios. And but we still have to rely on people to follow
Execute
the
plan.
system and process.
Yeah.
And it's
Humans fail the system occasionally, and
Yeah.
just it's what it is. What it is.
But it's also like you never rise to the occasion. You always fall back to your systems, and scalability only happens when your systems and processes are spot on.
Yeah, I mean, just like your industry. I mean, like you know, in up to 2019, you were doing real estate a certain way. You know, you had a team. Even though it was smaller, but still had systems that had processes that had to get done. Well, then 2020 happened, and you talked about going from like you're doing 100. I guess let's just say 30 transactions to now you're at 100 transactions. Like, man, it's hard to keep all that in place.
Yeah, and I feel like people that do well in real estate, like just from my experience, a realtor, like the more transactions they get, they have two choices. They can, one, just spend the money, take great vacations, invest it themselves, in properties or whatever, or two, reinvest that into their own business. And by reinvesting it, it's either hiring an employee to leverage, or it's improving your system to then be able to scale a little more. So like for me, I mean, honestly, I don't want to sound cheesy, but like I feel like I made it. I have a beautiful family. I have a great house. I have, plenty of guns that I can play with, and like all the things I would ever grew up to love, I have that. So it's like now I'm just reinvesting in the business, like, and I feel like once people are at that crossroads, it's fun to watch other realtors like gain the success, and then I found like, okay, you're at the crossroads. Which one are you going to choose? And I see some that choose one. I see some that choose the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is mind blowing though that as a full-time police officer, part-time realtor, you were literally in the top like 5% of people closing transactions.
And I had no idea, honestly. Like some,
and that's not even in San Antonio. That's like just top
Nationwide,
5%
yeah.
nationwide. You're
so
like, God.
D'Angelo. I remember D'Angelo Williams. He's with I think Prime Lending. Great guy. Love him. We used to do a lot of business together. And he sent me a screenshot, and he's like, "Dude, you're in the top like 10% in Bexar County," and I was still part time. I was like, "What? Like people don't normally do this?" I'm like, he's like, "No, like you're an anomaly." I'm like, "I'm just like doing video. I'm showing people like what the process is like, and just kind of being myself." But it wasn't until I systemized it that I can scale that care. I can scale that level of service to clients to where I know what they're going to experience through the process. So every single step, I have something in place to make sure that they're heard and to make sure that they have a better experience, and then predict what could go wrong. And I think, I don't know if people notice it or not, but like for an example, I had a closing a couple months back, and I specifically asked this military family, like, "Hey, how's your experience so far?" Like, "Oh my God, it was like so seamless. We closed at their house. They didn't have to drive to a title company." And shout out to Real Title. And and they're like, "You know what I was like, "Yeah, because the reason is we take over the communication with title. You don't ever talk to title." And he was like, "That's what it was." He's like, "I noticed because when I bought my house," he said, "that I like constantly had to send documents. I constantly had to like ask, what does a seller sheet mean? Like the info sheet that the title company had." And I said, "We know that, so that's why we take over all the communication. If there's something they need from you, it goes through us." And it's like the only time you talk to them is like, "Hey, the notary will be there at 2:00 or whatever." And he's like, "That is incredible that you do that, because I've never experienced that." And it's sometimes people understand how smooth we have it, and then some people just go through the motions. They, are with their family, they're working it hard or whatever, and they tend to just have a great experience without ever being able to explain it. So either way, I'm very happy with it, and I think it just comes back to like I'm so analytical with every single step of the process that I over obsess over everything. And it's only because the family gets empowered, and then the other agent on the other side gets empowered. So this way, everybody has just a better process.
So tell me about that. The other agent gets empowered.
So when because basically I'll have it to where, let's say the other agent is going to make an offer. I'll basically give them, like, I'll be like, hey, if you're going to make an offer, like, this is the best thing that our clients would be to meet in the middle. So they don't have to just like wonder what the offer is. And it also helps them set a precedence for their client. When they show the house, I give them a script to basically tell their client how great or how, like, what the house is going to need, so there's no surprises. During the process, RTC will handle most of the things for the buyers, so then we can predict when they don't get approved, or when the appraisal doesn't come in or something like that, to where it's their job's easier, but the reality is our client will have a better experience because there's less surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I want to help that agent out just so.
And I'm
my
a fucking
client
control freak. If you haven't noticed.
There's the rumors. I make sure it's done right.
Well, I mean, it's like the reality is the real estate process is completely broken, because when somebody wants to buy a house, they have to do the research, and then they have to figure out what realtor they want to call, and then they find the house, and then there's now a new person involved called a lender. And then once they get under contract, then there's a new person involved called insurance. And then there's a home warranty rep. And then there's title rep. And then there's a closing. And then it's like so many people that you now have to develop relationships with. But most of the time, not saying every time, but most of the time it starts with the agent. So if the agent can smooth out those processes and have less communication, it's honestly easier for the LO. It's easier for the insurance guy to be like, here's the quote. Like, I send John emails all the time, like, this is the address, and I have like, you reply with your date of birth, and then he gets the quotes, and then they decide from there. So it's like, I feel like the auxiliary services feel like they have to gain rapport with the person, but I think it's the opposite. I think it's like everybody's wasting time if you're trying to gain rapport for only a couple of days or a couple of weeks for the client, arguably.
That's an interesting perspective. Interesting perspective.
And most agents will be like, oh, we're on a contract? Cool.
Deal with Mike.
You deal with it. Yeah. Mike, you deal with it. And you know, insurance, title, mortgage, like, everybody will deal with it, and I get paid. I'm not saying all agents are like that. I'm just saying that if you're a one-person show and you don't have a lot of experience and you don't have solid systems. I know some incredible solo agents that have way better systems than me, and that are absolutely killing it. But I would say there's 16,000 licensed. I mean, it's really data, right? Like, there's 16,000 licensed agents in San Antonio, and of those 16,000, 80% of them don't do business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then 20% of them do 80% of the real estate in San Antonio.
I think it's 90-10 now.
94% last year.
94. There you go.
Yeah. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, I was like trying to be nice, right? Like saying 20%. But it's so true that the people with the most experience have more of the market share on purpose because they're systems.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also too, like, I could never refer somebody that, like, isn't awesome at their job, and that goes with anything, right? Like I'm a top plumber, electrician, roofer, like anything that you like. I did a roof 3 months ago. I can fix that. It's like, I am never sending you a client. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I would never refer somebody. I wouldn't refer my neighbor. I wouldn't refer my friend, and so that same philosophy kind of applies to a realtor, right? It's like, dude, you sell a lot of houses. You know what you're doing. Like, I would totally refer Trey to anyone, because I know Trey's going to take care of him. You know what I mean? Whereas I refer him to somebody else, and we just ran into it the other day where a good friend of my dad's, I don't even know. I'm gonna say, a good friend of my dad's a lender. He destroyed a deal because he is like a part-time lender, you know? And his response to the agent was, "Oh, this happens sometimes." No, it doesn't.
Whoa.
This happens sometimes.
It's like, okay, Forrest Gump.
It's like, no, it doesn't. And so, but that's a perfect example of why you should use somebody that actually does it. And I mean,
And does it well.
yeah.
I mean, it goes the same as like, do you want to go to a part-time doctor? Do you want to go to a part-time attorney? You know, this it's like you have to be a specialist in what you do. I mean, like, I wouldn't go to any of those like part-time things. I mean, if I wanted like a birthday cake whose son does something part-time, like, yeah, sure. Like, you know, I may not go to the nicest, but there's just certain things, especially when you're dealing with hundreds, if not millions of dollars in 30 days moving back and forth, or like a lender like Mike, and who does personal, like getting your pay stubs, getting your tax returns.
I'm
like,
crawling deep into your life.
right. So
Absolutely,
it's like, you have to deal with somebody.
That's just creepy.
I cleaned that up, but yeah.
Crawling
And if
deep
not,
in your life.
you're insane. Like, you're insane. Like, I don't know. It's just, even to me. And it's funny because people like, you know, talk about commissions. Like, people are like, well, why do you have to get paid this? Why do you have to get paid that? And for me, like, I bought a little condo, tiny little condo in New York City back when I first, when I lived there. And I used a realtor, and I paid them their professional fee of whatever, 3%. And that's like, what do you charge? I asked him, I was like, I'm a realtor. Like, what do you charge? He goes, I charge 3%. Like, I'm sorry, I won't take anything lower. I'm like, why? And then he told me, he's like, well, because I have a database of this, I have this attorney, I have this auxiliary staff, I have that. I'm like,
Makes sense.
sold. Understood. But if you're telling me I charge 3% because that's the standard,
Right.
like, that's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
You should, every time he's like, what do you charge and why? There you go.
Dude, I can't help but think about how much money or opportunities the realtor you used and didn't have a great experience with missed out on. Like,
Oh,
she
for sure.
you could have fed her so many leads if you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
clearly you had
you
leads.
could have
Clearly
been
you
her
had
golden
leads.
child.
Oh,
I know, right?
For sure.
You would've been
literally,
on the Christmas card list, for
have
sure.
Have the
You're the golden
SAPD
goose.
department would have been, yeah.
And she cooked you.
Yeah. Like, you clearly had a spear or leads or opportunities that if she just would have just explained paragraph C.
Oh, dude. And now, like, I mean, we get clients that are extremely analytical, and they're like, nope, I want you to explain every paragraph in this. And I will, because I've memorized all of these contracts. I've done case studies. I've done, like, what ifs. And especially with the 400 homes I've closed over, that I can say, like, well, most people say this, most people say this, most people say this. And because of that experience.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So you guys give me a bad experience so I can get my...
So,
Yeah.
what's your secret sauce? What makes you stand above?
So, I think it's three things. Number one is I'm just wired a certain way because of how I grew up. I think it's the upbringings of, you know, the struggle, poverty. My mom has a mental illness, so, like, survival was part of my life every single day. And so even today, like, doesn't matter how much I have in a bank account, doesn't matter how much business I have, I'm still in survival mode. I don't know why. That's just how I'm wired. So I think the second thing is the people. The people that I surround myself with, I mean, you guys especially, is like, I would not be on where I am without the people giving me, like, hey, Trey, I know you're doing 100 videos a week, but, like, this is how you make your videos better based on what I'm seeing, without ever asking for anything in return. That's the second thing. And the third thing is just, like, leaps. Like, you have to believe that, hey, if I take this leap, like, there's risk with it. And it's okay if it doesn't work. It's okay. It's that comfortability to fail is what I'm now comfortable with. Like, if I implement a new system, if I hire a new employee, if I do a marketing ad or a marketing piece that I'm not sure if it's going to work, like, that's okay. Those three things, I think, are my secret sauce.
Yeah, it's definitely not okay doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing is never okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not okay not making a decision. And I think, like, a lot of us just learn that. Either you hopefully learn it the hard.
oh shit, I found a fourth one. I know, I talked too much. I know. So it's your
Edit
You
this
have-
out. He's got it.
it's your fault you brought me here. So the fourth one is time. I look at time from, like, literally under a microscope. I truly believe, and this is before I read the book Atomic Habits. So, like, I read it now, but before I read Atomic Habits, I've always believed that seconds turn into minutes, minutes turn into hours, and I know this is repetitive, but hours turn into days, weeks, months, years, whatever. So the more time you waste, every second of your day will add up to years of just wasted success. So, for example...
We need you to make a short of that. I love that.
So, for example, like, I don't listen to music Monday through Friday at all. Nothing, no music. And I usually listen to some kind of podcast in the morning and then an audiobook on my drive home. But if I have to, like, go to a showing, if I have to have a meeting or whatever, I'm either silence and I'm just processing what's going on during the day, or I'm, like, trying to find information, or I'm posting on something, or I'm commenting on something. Because what I realize is at the end of the day, I look back of what I've done, and I always think, like, what could I have done better? Like, what second did I miss that I wasted time on or wasted talking to somebody on that I could have either offset or I could have had somebody else do? And I literally do that every single night. It drives my wife fucking insane, but I have to do that because that is how I have built the schedule, and it's understanding like when you're in a moment of wasting time. And it's powerful because, like, I'll be having conversations with somebody and it's almost subconscious now that I'll be like, I'm wasting time.
I talk to this guy.
Yep.
So then I'll either change the subject or I'll say, I gotta
go.
shit my pants. I gotta go. Like
I feel you on that. There's some people where it's like I start talking to them, and it's not even like wasting time. It's like you're sucking the energy out of me. It's like I can't be around the like. It doesn't happen often, but there are some people where I'm like I gotta go. Like I just can't. Like I can't do this.
So what I do now, especially to the people that are on my team, is I literally sit down with them and I was like, listen, this is my personality. God gave me this. I can't change it. I've tried to change it. I can't. So this is my personality. You got to talk to me in bullet points, and if it's not on track of what we're talking about, you're gonna lose me.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be short, concise, and if not, we're not gonna talk. And I even do that.
You do that with me. I love that. Like so. You know what we do all the time. Like there's some people where I have to talk to, and I'll talk. Yeah, not have to. I get to talk to them, friends, right? And I would consider you and me friends.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's like we never go over a minute, maybe a minute and a half. He says whatever he needs to say. I say whatever I need to say, and he's like, "Cool,
Done. Break."
Bye." Yeah, done. And same thing with Mike too. It's like, dude, anytime I talk to Mike, I'm like,
I'm very bullet pointed.
yeah. We're like, all right, sounds good. Okay, I'll get it done.
Dude, I got a whopper of an email the other day that I'm still working on because it's just you can't even. You talking about time suck, man. You know, bullet points are where it's at.
I mean, it also depends on your personality. So, like, we went on a 2-day retreat, and it's call it a 2-day conference in Cabo. I know, poor me.
The struggle's real.
I was on the beach. But in the 2 days, 8 hours a day during the day, we learned only 2 things. One, we learned the flywheel. So the flywheel is what processes you can make for ever-going consistent tasks to basically run on its own. Mm-hmm. The second day, we learned about how you process information and how you cast information for other people to process. Like, that's it. That's the only 2 things we learned. And it was super interesting how we did, some smart doctor guy made up this like whole concept, and we segregated people in the room of colors. So it was like a red,
or 2025,
brain,
bro. We can't be doing that shit.
a red brain, green brain, blue brain, and yellow brain, right? And my wife was in a yellow brain, and I was in a blue brain. And the reason is it was so insane how we took this test, and all of us were talking in bullet points. We're talking very wide, broad thinking, and in like global concepts. And we didn't need details.
Right.
It was like if John told me, "Hey Trey, I need you to develop this subdivision. I need you to tell me what people are going to need." And I would run with it. I wouldn't even ask questions. I would be like, "Okay," but if you that because I'm a blue brain, but if my wife heard that, she'd be like, well, where's the subdivision? Where's it going to be? What's the timeline? How long do I have? Like, she needs every single step of it in order to develop the conclusion. So it's super interesting. And then one guy, he was an advisor for Nike. Like, he was the consulting guy for fucking Nike.
Wow.
And he basically said that, like, in Nike, he told them to put the personality type on the door of the office. So you knew exactly how to speak to this person when you walked in. And I thought that was fucking brilliant. Like, if somebody walked into my office, oh, he's a blue brain. Or if they talk to my wife's office, she's yellow. There's none of them is, like, better than the other. It's just different, you know, and it's super interesting.
Yeah, that would be fun.
We made all the employees take personality tests. We should totally just paste that on their cubicles.
That's pretty funny.
That's a good idea, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a while ago we were talking about time suck, and like we have somebody that'll walk in the office, and it's like, I know it's going to be a 15-minute conversation. I got 4,000 other things going on right now that I need to do. Just like, let's just wrap this up.
And aside from time suck, it's like when let's say I go to a networking event. When I talk to somebody either new or like we're getting connected somehow, my brain already goes to what's the purpose of this conversation. And if there's a purpose, like, oh, you need to build rapport with this person, then I will allow brain space in order to build the rapport with this person. And it's like, but I have to have a purpose for it. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, let's just talk. You know, and I know, poor me. Like, I'm the worst person to hang out with. Ever.
He's analyzing everything I say.
Well, you feel like you're forcing the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, if that's how you feel, that's how you think, and like you're like trying to figure out what. And it's not like, what am I going to get out of this person? It's like, it's just like, dude, like, yes, it rained. My family's great. It's like sitting next to. It's like
the weather's weather.
The weather's weather. My family's doing fine, and we're going to Bahamas in July. Like, do we need to have any other conversation? Is there anything else to say? No, I'm good. Are you good? All right, cool. Like, I'm gonna go grab a beer.
And also, like, when I talk to agents and, like, they tell me, like, hey, Trey, like, I see you're doing great on video, you know, so, and they tell me about their thing. Because my brain works in bullet points, I'm at the point where, like, normally I would just, like, Trey, don't be yourself. Don't be yourself. But now, like, listening, like, oh, that's great. But now, I just don't care. But not that I don't care. That was the wrong thing to say. I do care. I do care enough to tell them, like, hey, just so you know, my brain works in bullet points. And this is how I process information. But tell me about what you got going on. And they tell me, and I stop them. I'm like, you're veering. Tell me, go back to what you were telling me. And I literally tell them that. And at first they're like, damn, this guy's a dick. But then they're like, oh, this guy gets me. Because I'm like, listen, you're not doing this because of this. And I think the whole global perspective, and I'm telling them what they're doing wrong. But I'm not like saying like, I'm right, do what I'm telling you to do. I'm just telling them, I'm almost like reflecting what they're talking about, and it gives them their own perspective to take with them.
How do you communicate with your wife and kids?
So
because clearly your wife's not like this.
God bless my wife. She's so patient with me.
Stacy is amazing.
She is
hands down, like.
She a saint?
And she's super hot.
Not to take anything away from Trey, but you know the whole saying, like, behind every successful man's
He married up?
Yeah. Oh, dude, Stacy's a rock star. Yeah.
So her brain works very fast with tasks that are explained to her. So if you give her the detailed blueprint that her brain needs, she will do it in seconds. And for me, like, I can do it in seconds, but I'll fuck it all up because I'm thinking in my own concept. Uh-huh. And so, yeah, no, we're complete opposites, and especially how we work in our business. She's the director of operations. So, like, I'm the global thinker. Like, we're going to start a media company. And then she's like, oh, fuck. So then she does the marketing coordinator. We'll coordinate with the media manager. We'll coordinate with the CRM manager, and then they'll go into like meetings without me to implement what I'm doing. And then I'll hear the feedback, and I'll say, nope, I don't like that. You need to map it this way. And then they'll re-implement it.
Yeah. Do you have kids?
These guys.
Two.
Yeah. What do you have, boys or girls?
Boys 9, girls 8.
Oh man, so I got 2 girls, and I realize you kind of gotta like. They're emotional creatures, man, and so you kind of. I would imagine interacting with your son is a little bit different than interacting with your daughter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're same opposites. Like my son is much more like me, and my daughter's my wife, but my daughter has my wife's creative side. I mean, my daughter has my creative side, but yeah, very different kids.
They're so much fun trying to, but it's like the whole firm. Like it's like I'm not being mean, Reese. I'm just like this is just how we talk. This is how we get through troubles.
Yeah.
This is how
we
we
actually
figure.
brought that back to our kids. So like we had our sheets, and like for a fun exercise, we said like, look, this is Daddy's brain, right here, and this is Mommy's brain, and then which one is your brain? And it was fun for them to be like, oh, I do this, I like this, and I don't like this. So it's cool to.
That is fun, man.
Did you paint the room that color?
Put a sign
Oh,
on the
I
back.
am. On the yeah.
That's right. I'm in the blue room.
Yeah.
Man, that's fun. You've had your whole like your quick journey of just overcoming other people's challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, my last question.
Yeah.
So, do you think your success is more of from where you come from, or how you're wired? Because I think as Americans, we're fat and lazy, and you had to scratch and fight and survive every day. So, what do you think was the bigger driving factor?
Man, I hate to give a cheesy response, but I think it's both. Because as a cop, I went to every single training I could possibly do. I got into as much shit as I possibly could. Like if there's like, hey, there's this suspicious person walking up, I'd be already driving there, right? Like, oh, there's a guy with a gun at this house. I'd already be driving there. I wasn't even assigned to the call, and I would do it. So I think it's both. But it really is the community that I have with Real and some of my friends in the industry that really have molded just the implementation, because it's like you can go far by yourself, and you can go far and fast with people, but what if, and this is a Sharon quote, is what if you can go far and fast?
Damn.
There you go.
Boom. I feel like that's
a great rap right
we
there.
gotta
You
end it
can't,
now.
you can't.
Yeah.
We can go far
Thanks for
and
coming, bud.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
thanks
a
for
lot of
having
fun.
me, guys.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Best win so far.
Dude, that's pretty funny. Like a call comes in, like dispatcher's like, hey, we gotta.
I'm already there.
Oh, and here comes Wildman Serrano on 2 wheels. On 2 wheels. He's like, get out! Like the rest of the force is like, what the fuck? He's like, you're like Leroy Jenkins.
Oh, yeah.
What was that? That game where you know what I'm talking about? That game, the computer game where they're like fighting each other or whatnot, and then like they're trying to get a good plan, and then all of a sudden he's like Leroy Jenkins. He just goes there and just fucks the whole game up. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
Nobody knows what you're talking
Oh,
about.
dude.
No, nobody.
You got to
It must be
YouTube it.
Mississippi.
No, dude, I don't play computer games. It is hilarious. It is hilarious.
Have you been tested for Mensa?
What's that?
It's
IQ of 130 or above, Mensa.
What's a Mensa?
It's a club for
It's
really
a club for really
intelligent
smart
people.
people.
I'm not smart.
You don't think you're smart?
No.
You just think you're driven.
Yeah.
He's just a badass, dude.
No, I mean, I like IQ wise, I don't even know what my IQ is, but like, I sucked at school. I was straight CD student most of my life. College, because I had a little more freedom, I think I started getting like 3.0s or whatever. Is that good? I guess.
It'd be.
Right? But then after that, I went nuts.
So how's Real Mortgage treating you? Is it working?
Good. I mean,
Mike's like, damn.
is the mic off?
No, we're still recording.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
cut that.
Yeah, good.
Are we good?